Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC relegation promotion, whatever you want to call it, tournament. We're getting ready to go into our second game of this best of three between Lucent and Demise. And for me, eyes are on Lucent now. After that game one, this could be a quick day. This could be a very quick day, Jamada.
A quick day, yeah.
But Demise could turn it around. They had a really, really good start to that game. Kuzi on the Gragas in laning phase, honestly amazing stuff. So I think, Demise realistically should be able to still win a game. It's just, they need to be smart about their transitions from these game winning states and when they're going to pick up Baron, when they're going to force a fight on their terms, and they should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's strange, right? Because when you lose such a big lead at a game like that, you start to think, what did we even do wrong? And I think it was more or less, it was just around the Baron stuff. I think they actually transitioned into the mid game for the most part fine. There were a few individual slip-ups here and there, but that's kind of UK League of Legends in any game, right? But I think it was giving Lucent the opportunity to even fight in front of the Baron pit, where they know that a champion like Jinx and all the other champions that Lucent had drafted can really fight them hard in a very tight area like that. And especially once Demise actually started over-chasing into Lucent's jungle, it's pretty much the same thing. So I think just as long as they understand when to pick the fights or where to pick the fights, they'll be fine. I think that's actually just about it, because I think that was some of the best early game execution we've seen out of Demise from pretty much the start of the year.
Yeah. As far as the early game goes, yeah. After that,
it weren't too great.
I'm really curious what's going to go down in this game. We have Demise on the same side as well. They're on the red side this game, and Lucent are on the blue side. So it's the exact same side selection as we had in that last game. So curious to see what changes. I'd like to see maybe the Olaf get banned away, because I think that was the biggest problem that Demise had, was the Olaf just completely zoning Xandra out of every fight.
It's tough to say, because the Olaf only really got to be that powerful because of the surrounding draft. I feel that Demise had. I feel like there wasn't really, Olaf himself wasn't a problem because Olaf exists. He was a problem because of what Demise actually ended up having, if that makes a little more sense. So I think you don't necessarily have to ban it away. I mean, it's certainly something that Demise can think about if they really feel like it was that big of an issue and they don't want to change up the style of which they've drafted. But I think it would be a pretty big oversight. I think you just swap up the draft a little bit. Some key things like, I think Rifty being on a closer to true damage dealer in that kind of situation, as opposed to the sort of bruiser, tanky-ish champion in the Darius. Alongside that, Kai'Sa would have probably paid bigger dividends when you're giving Rifty R5.
Yeah, I mean, that was also another concern, is they do pick themselves up. A counter pick in the top lane, or say counter pick in the top lane, and then counter pick went 2 and 4, not particularly the greatest. So for now, the bans are actually exactly the same as our game number 1. We'll see if anything shifts up here, if Demise do decide to maybe take away the Cho'Gath or the Olaf or the Jinx even. We'll see what they decide to ban away as their final ban. I can't remember what it was.
It was Twisted Fate, and I think they should keep the Twisted Fate ban, because
yes, you're right.
Lucent, actually, I think the one of the few times I've watched Lucent play, not just as actually casting but watching, they're a team that are willing to actually take in early rotations, which is not very common for a lot of ERL teams, let alone a team in the UK or UKLC even. So I'm happy to see it banned away again. Say that again.
This just has to be fresh, right?
Yeah, it has to be fresh again. Strongest support on the patch still. I think it did get hit with a nerf, but it was something really just not that consequential. And it looks like Demise are just gonna go with the same rotation again.
Am I waking up from a fever dream or something? What is going on?
All right,
so Olaf Jinx.
Olaf Jinx. You don't have to change up if you're Lucent, though you may feel a little more compelled after the early game to swap up something. I don't think it would be the Olaf or necessarily the Jinx. I guess you could kind of widest champion pool.
Oh, there's the Olaf.
Yeah, there's one.
You can legitimately take the Kai'Sa and then.
Yeah.
That could be
take
like
Kai'Sa.
the only thing you could change if you wanted to change anything. But I think the Jinx was so impactful from Vanguard.
Yeah, I think so long as they're actually able to not get 2v2 killed in the manner that they did and then allow themselves to have waves stacked on them to be then dove and denied, they'll be okay. And I think as long as they pay a little more respect to the laning phase, they're not going to be too fussed. Now, I think the onus is now on Demise to swap up their draft. Now, I don't think Kai'Sa was necessarily the issue, so I'm not going to make up too much of a fuss about it.
No.
It's more about the R4 and the R5 pick. We need to see Pillar on something a little more impactful here. Not just the Galio to facilitate, because realistically, in this kind of composition, you don't need to be much a facilitator when you've got the Gragas, the Kai'Sa, and the Volibear. You've kind of got 2 facilitators of fights already. So yes, it's not the hardest of engagers in the world, but provide a little more for your team, provide a little more damage, provide something that can blow up this Olaf, right? Something like the Syndra, for example, something that can actually provide and create space, because something like the Galio can't really do that for free or necessarily exist in the game when Olaf kind of just ignores all of the CC that he tries to put down onto him and just blows up Zandra anyway.
This is literally the same picks and bans as game number 1.
Yeah. Are we getting pranked?
Was the Orianna in it last time?
Yep.
Yeah.
Orianna is
And then it was another top laner. It was Silas. It was Silas.
Yeah, it was Silas. So Silas is going to get banned away.
Could you imagine if we have the exact same game? Like,
Lucent, I'm just saying, time's ticking. Just ban it. You know what you're going to ban. It's just, we're waiting. Oh, it's Darius. Okay, all right. So change. Now, that does mean Lucent are going to have to be a little more wary of picking any tank with a whole bunch of engage, because giving those options over to Silas can be very scary, as Rifty has been known to just pick it.
But
quite.
I will counter that with last time round when we had this same pick and bans right up until that Darius, it was the Galio that got picked up here.
Yeah.
If this is a Galio, it's a Cho'Gath. Okay, so Silas isn't bad for Lucent. It's actually a fine pickup for Lucent right now.
Yeah, I think that there's quite a few options for Rengus. Or Nice Guy Dom if he wants to pilot it, really, but realistically, probably Rengus. Okay.
Yeah, we did expect that. We actually switched servers during the middle of the game, in the middle of the last break. So we were expecting a couple of champion select issues, but we should be getting back into it fairly quickly. And these teams know what they're picking a ban, and they've done it twice now. So
they're about to do it for a third time. So it's almost a different game 3 at this point. No.
I feel like they're just messing with me at this point. I feel like they're playing with me, showing me the same pick and ban phase as many times as possible, except with one thing changing every time. Yeah. Just to really catch me off guard.
Yeah. Let's see, because I think the Cho'Gath does now. From what I understand, actually, Zandru couldn't pick a champion. If that's the case, then the client actually just RNG picked Cho'Gath for him, which is quite low odds when you think about it. There was 16 champions technically picked off the roster, so you're working with like 1 in 140 something odds for happening. But hey, back to the pick and ban screen. Curious to see what Demise are going to take for this R4. With Silas being up, I don't think they would necessarily R4 it. I think it's more a Rifty pick than a Pillar pick, though it wouldn't surprise me that Pillar would be able to play it.
Yeah.
But would they put that much priority on the champion is what I'm thinking, because it's strong, but I don't think it's that strong.
Well, we are just gonna have to rattle through these picks and bans once again.
Hopefully they're quick.
Yeah, hopefully the teams don't take their time. Azura, you're playing Volibear, pick it. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so it's get it through these, and then we can kind of figure out what that 4th pick is going to be. Whether or not the Cho'Gath was the real pick. I do believe it was Zandru who had a champ select issue.
Yeah,
from the chat we saw after that. So pretty sure that it might not be that Cho'Gath. I think we might see something else. And you don't want to really blind pick the Silas, because then you could be in for a bit of problems. But be interested to see what the pick will be here, as it's just a waiting game now as we work our way through the picks and bans as quick as possible.
Yeah, I am definitely. I mean, again, Cho'Gath definitely poses a pretty interesting question back at Lucent. in terms of what Rengus would be willing to pick into it. Because Cho'Gath is kind of a tricky champion sometimes to pick into. Yes, you can just pick some sort of range free scaling and kind of get away with it, but not everybody has those picks in their back pocket, right? So let's see what the choices for Demise, because I really think they need either a true damage dealer Rifty or a true damage dealer Pillar, one or the other.
Oh, hello.
There we go. I think that is already tremendously better than what they were running in the previous game. And what's nice about this Yone pick is that we've seen Rifty Pilot and we've seen Pillar Pilot. So this is actually a flex pick between top and mid. And it just means that Lucent have to sort of be a little more respectful in what they're essentially kind of blind picking here for both of their solo lanes.
Well, it looks like we are going to be shaking things up now as the Ziggs gets picked up here for Nice Guy Dom in the mid lane. And final pickup is going to be towards this top lane. Are they going to look for something that can, get the engage in the top lane, something like the Ornn, but then you are worried about the Silas pick, the Cho'Gath we did see from Rengus in that last game.
They can really pick something stationary. Yeah, they can pick something stationary like the Cho'Gath, and I think they're really, really okay with that. Yone can just go into the top side and match it if they want to, and they can pick up another mid laner here. I mean, there's still a lot of flexibility in this draft, so I'm not going to place anything anywhere yet, just because. But based on what we saw from last game, Kuzi seems to be a very phenomenal Gragas player now. And Azura on the Volibear seems to know where to be in the early game. In the later stages, though, just didn't quite manage to have the same level of impact that he would have liked to have had. As timer ticks, and it's going to be set into this Cho'Gath, I would imagine. So, very interesting way to round out this draft here by Demise.
All right, so talk to me about this mid lane, because I've not seen the Ziggs Yone matchup.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you've probably not either, but...
So...
Talk to me about what your thoughts are.
Whilst I've not seen the matchup, typically a lot of the Ziggs lanes kind of go in the nature of you sit there through levels 1 through 3, sometimes 4, depending on the matchup. And then from 5 onwards, you can kind of just AFK farm, have lane priority, just at the press of a couple of buttons. Yone definitely once he gets level 6 will have a lot of kill threat onto a mage like Ziggs where he doesn't really have a whole bunch of mobility, right? It's just a satchel, and even then you've got to time it properly. So it can be a bit tricky to navigate. But honestly, I want to actually say for anyone that was watching Lucent a few weeks ago, Nice Guy Don pulled out this pick in playoffs. And honestly, it was probably the scariest Ziggs I've seen come out in, even relative to a couple of ERL players I think played this champion. And Ziggs, I think, just because you don't see him often, so you forget this champion deals a buttload of damage. And I think in a composition where Demise, they want to run into this, that's kind of a scary prospect. You go run through the satchels, the minefields, you set up for the Hextech bombs to just be really easy to land, and then the ultimate, if Zandri ever dives forward, you kind of just set yourself up to get ulted by the Ziggs. So I think, again, outside of the Olaf, Lucent's composition is very much, on the same page, and if Wilhelm wants to, he can look to just constantly dive Zandra in some of these mid-game fights, but he's got a little more damage to have to worry about now.
Yeah, absolutely. It does look like we have loaded through onto the Rift, getting ready to go into our second game of the series. My eyes are really going to be on this bot lane for Lucent, because while they had a fantastic late game, early game, there were a few questions for me. There were a few problems. Mainly Zandra goes 6-0 in the first 8 minutes.
Yeah, pretty big issue.
That's a problem. The fact they're going to pull it back, great. But if Lucent want to convince me here, I want to see them win this game without getting absolutely slapped about in the early game. And for Demise, it's do what you did in that early game, but this time, kill the Nexus. I'm sure that's exactly what their coach said to them after that last game. Look, guys,
simple man.
Everything was fine. You just needed to kill the Nexus.
You just, to be fair, it does sound like something Lorx would say. So,
I don't know if we're selling him in a good light there.
Well,
sure it was very instructive.
No, Lorx is a very competent coach. So, I mean, as sort of evident by how well Demise played the early game, actually, but I think just individual mistakes kind of led to a little bit too much of a gold deficit in sort of the mid game.
Is the defensive line that's been set up by both of these teams is Zora reset, and so did Wilhelm, just picking up their sweepers.
Very common for a lot of junglers, and if you know where a ward is sometimes and you're able to get the sweeper going for your solo lanes, you can obviously give them the XP to level up one creep sooner. I think Pillar should, yeah, Pillar did show, okay. On this wave, but yeah, mid lane, nice guy Dom, gonna be fine farming here. Pillar won't really have too much sort of poke threat until level 2 if he decides to opt into the E at level 2, but level 3 is when you really start to get to lane with Yone.
Oh,
As yeah, 4 spikes early on. That grass stack too.
plus the healing.
Yeah.
Just meant that was not a nice trade for Rifty. Philip chunked out pretty heavily here already. Has hit that level 2 first, but nice guy Dom also hitting his pretty quick.
Yeah, thank you, Observer, actually hovering over the runes. I was curious or not to whether Pillar would have gone Second Wind plus maybe something like Overgrowth or even the Shielding rune, the Healing rune. Yeah, just because you're melee into range into a champion like Ziggs, you know you're going to get poked out. Very surprised to see him go down this particular rune start, and even going Doran's Blade first, I think, is
Now,
interesting.
bear with me, Jamada. Shield bash Yone.
I mean, I can see it. Yeah. I don't think it's. Why not? Like,
Try that in your solo queue games, not mine.
I'll have you know, I'm pretty good at it, actually.
I'm sure you are. I'm appalling at Yone. It's weird because I can play Yasuo, but I can't play Yone.
You know,
I always think Yone is like the easier Yasuo.
Oh,
but maybe I'm
no,
wrong.
no,
Maybe
no.
I'm really wrong on that.
I mean, I think Yasuo has a much higher skill ceiling because,
Yeah.
like, his E mechanics and the EQ, flash stuff, all of that nonsense. Whereas I don't really think Yone has much of those. Anyway, Rengus is about to be the recipient of a pretty irritating early gank.
Yeah, he's getting teleported in. They're actually trying to get him out here, but that is first blood picked up already. And nice guy Dom looking for Rifty. Rifty able to get out. Here comes Wilhelm looking for the flash out from Rifty. That bomb's not going to quite hit his mark. Rengus not able to survive long enough to be able to turn that player around. Maybe if he flashed. Zero will find Wilhelm, and I don't know who wins this one.
So, of old, it was definitely Volibear. Well, it's so 50-50, honestly. This jungle matchup is just so skirmish heavy, fight heavy. The way they interact with each other is so strange just because of, you know, Volibear heals over time. The lower that Olaf gets, he will start dealing more damage. So when you see them first butt heads and Volibear deals all of his initial burst damage, you're like, well, okay, now he's got no cooldowns and Olaf's just going to auto-attack him to death. But then the frenzied mauls start coming, the W healing. And then you're like, oh, maybe Olaf wins it. Trust me, it's 50-50. It really just depends on who's actually based in biomes.
It's just an infinite fight. No one
It's
goes
just
down.
an infinite fight. No one dies, yeah.
Doesn't look like they've actually swapped the lanes out. Rengus is going into the mid lane now.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, honestly, I can kind of understand.
No, don't worry. That's the walk of shame. This is the walk of shame. He even walks over the thing. Look at that. He's so small at this point. He's smaller than a Ziggs.
He's about as the same size as Ziggs. And you know, I wouldn't even mind if they'd swapped lanes necessarily, because I think if Ziggs was in the top side, he would kind of make this lane uninteractive for Rifty. And Rengus being in mid, I just don't really see a way that Pillar would solo kill him necessarily. But, oh, I actually misspoke earlier as well. Rengus is not gone for Grasp. He's got the Unsealed Spellbook.
Oh, he has.
I thought that was why he dealt so much damage to Rifty. It was also a Grasp stack on top of it, but no.
It's minions. Level 1 minions plus the Vorpal spikes. Wilhelm is going to solo up this dragon, so nice start here. I say solo as Zerg moves over with Vanguard to make sure they do secure this objective. Although Zero on the other side of the map, not realistically going to be able to come and deal with that one. As that's the first dragon picked up for Lucent, starting that snowball a little bit earlier, as Zora just going to go in for a potential invade into Wilhelm's jungle.
Yeah, that's
No, they're
never
flashing,
mind.
they're lanterning.
Yeah.
It feels like we're about to go to sleep. The hook comes down, and here's the zap. Xandru eats it. And Wilhelm burning down to the ignite. Kuzi able to find the kill.
Yeah, that feels really bad when you go for that proactive play as a jungler and you get punished for it. Well, not even necessarily, well, you're being punished on the top side. Zoro taking these jungle camp spot in the moment, dying to a gank that you wanted to start off. Doesn't feel great.
And there's a 2-level lead now between the junglers.
Yeah, not only that, he just hit 6, so he wants to dive Nice Guy Dom, who's currently pretty low. He can turn off the tower.
Yeah, does have that flash. He's just trying to sidestep, but that is all of the ultis. They don't even need the R. The teleport's coming in, but it's too little. It's too late. Although Rengus has got 6 and Azura could get caught out here. There's a Devourer available. He's going to throw the silence up and the Rupture, forcing the flash. It's just going to be Pillar he's getting chased onto. And that is Rengus securing the kill with the Feast. Lucent trade back.
Yeah. And he's got that Ghost on his way back to lane, so he's going to make it there fast. I'm not even going to miss the lane. And speaking of getting to lanes fast, hey, it's a Lantern too, hey. Everyone, not missing out on side lanes here.
Just dropping the one
this time. Yeah. But yeah, Azura, I think, making a pretty decisive, good play. It's just that the exit route cut off by the teleport of Rengus. Very nice response.
I will say it was Nice Guy Dom didn't flash, so at least the optimistic way to look at that is he held his flash, so didn't burn it. There were a lot of people about it. It was probably going to be pretty hard for him to escape that one.
Yeah, I think chances are, even if he'd flashed, then, you know, Azura just followed flashes anyway, and Pillar had his flash, had his ult, had loads of ways to just close the gap, regardless of if Nice Guy Dom attempted to do something. Sound the knock up.
Pillar will get drugged back in as zips back a little bit.
Yeah.
Too late for Nice Guy to connect on that Mega Inferno Bomb. There's a Super Mega Death Rocket and a Mega Inferno Bomb in this game.
Yeah, 2 Demolitionists in one game. That's a scary thought. Wasn't that a... That was a class in TFT at one point, right? Demolitionist.
Demolitionist? Yeah, it was. It was, actually.
I wonder who else would have been in that class. Sorry, I've been playing a lot of TFT recently. So
I've not touched TFT this set. I played like a little bit at the tail end of it, and a little bit at the beginning. I love TFT. I don't know. I kind of... Maybe I burnt myself out a little bit too much.
Yeah, maybe as
that is
being burned out.
Okay, Pillar kind of smurfing on that one.
Yeah, Dom just got removed from Summoner's Rift in the most anime fashion possible.
Nothing personal, kid.
Nothing personal, as Pillar finds himself a solo kill. Nice Guy Dom doesn't flash, yet again. So he's holding on to it for perhaps Game 3's laning. As Demise are 2,500 gold up, but we've kind of done this long on Dance already.
I would say this is better for Lucent right now, as they are looking for a little something. As the cask is going to come out, and talking about that gold lead, looks to be growing substantially. As the Super Mega Death Rocket's coming in. Actually, Xandru jumping into the face, but Vanguard running him down. Meanwhile, a fight's breaking out in the top lane. Vanguard will find the kill onto Xandru. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Rengus being chased, looking for the rupture, able to survive everything. And he may just get away from this one scot-free.
Yeah, now
Lucent come out on top.
Yeah. I mean, he is going to obviously miss out on a lot of XP on the top side, and there's going to be a much bigger gold swing going into Rifty's pocket. But Vanguard just got double kill on the bottom side. Pick play. He's going to reset now. He probably has a mythic ready to purchase up, so he is going to be online. And I mean, the 2v2 this time around, it goes in favor of Lucent, and we saw what Vanguard could do once he actually started to get rolling. And this time he's going to have a bit of a lead, so it just starts off. The Death Sentence missed, and that's what prompts Demise to actually walk forward, throw the cask, drop it down, and Zerg does drop eventually. But the issue is, Xandru is already too chunked from all of the AoE that Vanguard was laying down in his attempts to take down his support anyway, and isn't able to win out on the 1v1. And on the top side, I mean, there's just not enough of a commitment to damage on Rengus to kill him.
The problem that this is, as this has now caused for Demise, is sure, not for Demise, sorry, for Lucent. Sure, they got a double kill. They actually traded up globally on kills. But the difference is there was nothing for them to take. The Rift Herald was secured by Demise because they had pressure mid and top. And they didn't get a kill, sure, but they had the pressure to turn that into the Rift Herald, and now they've got the pressure in the bot lane when they need it to pick up the Dragon. So while Lucent, good plays by them, and you are now looking at a 2-0 Jinx. You did just lose that second Dragon. You did lose the Rift Herald. So the two neutral objectives have gone down as Zerg was looking for the hook. Xandru able to supercharge your way to safety.
Yeah, and honestly, I think with Azura coming down here into the bottom side, if Demise opt to start this play, I think they're about to just lose all 3 of their members.
They're coming in, they got the lantern, they got the flash, they're looking for Xandru. Vengod firing away. Xandru's so low, but he is just being run down by Wilhelm. Just completely the same scenario as the last game. Can Zerg land a flay? Yes, he can. And Vengod, a couple more autos, can't quite make it work as Nice Guy Dom is going to fall to the Ignite as he throws out the ulti to clear out the way from Pillar.
Flash this time, but well, hey, look. Ziggs will eventually be a champion. It's any consolation. But right now, Pillar is really popping off. And honestly, it's kind of what I personally expect from Pillar when he's on these super mechanical champions like Irelia, like Yone. Even like Yasuo, I'm sure you can probably play. If you can play Irelia and Yone, probably in your pocket as well. There's a Rift Herald in the mid lane.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the use of that because they could have taken first Tower Blood with it. And I actually don't think they're going to be able to get it now because of the resistances. They're going to take a lot of plates, but the wave's dying out, and Villa just doesn't have the damage to finish it up because of the four buff basically stacking up.
Yeah, definitely a very interesting choice. I think just because Azura wanted to move on through his own personal jungle clear, wanted to keep his own personal tempo high. As I said, if Demise started this play, they'll lose all 3 members. But fortunately for them, it's Lucent, so they only lose to 100 in this game. And honestly, Azura was pretty close to dropping anyway. Well, one more rocket would have definitely done it. As pan over to the mid lane, and Dom, well, he flashes. But the Ignite, the true damage from the Spirit Unbound is still, quite frankly, just too much for the poor little Yordle to handle. And he's being traded onto again.
Yeah, Pillar is doing so much work to him. 0 attack speed boots, by the way. That champion...
And the thing is, because he's got Fleet Footwork, Fleet is a rune that scales with time. So now that he's, you know, yes, still laning into Ziggs, but we're at sort of almost 14 minutes. He's working towards that first item. He's got some more stats in his pocket. The healing is actually going to really start to add up now. You can see anytime he actually procs Fleet Footwork, he's getting about 70 HP back, which, you know, if he's getting it, let's say twice per minion wave, that's 150, 140-ish HP. Plus all of the D-Blade healing. There's Ravenous Hunter healing too. Stacks up, adds up. Vengod trying to pick up that bottom tier 1 tower. Rifty gonna have the wave ordered away from him by Nice Guy Dom. I don't think he saw Azura there. So ultimate from Pillar available, ultimate from Azura available. I think we know what's about to happen. No flash.
Yeah, he tries to jump away, but gets hit by the Fate Sealed, and his fate is absolutely sealed. They are going to try and race out for first turret blood here, but I think it is going to be Demise who come out on top. Nope.
Oh, no, Lucent.
Lucent do narrowly pull ahead there, but they need to stem the bleeding in this mid lane. It is starting to become a real problem.
Yeah, it definitely is, just because Pillar... I mean, one thing that Demise kind of crucially lacked in the last game was, you know, reasonable backline access to Vengod. In this game, they're going to have that Fire Yone because he can kind of just kamikaze through multiple members. As long as his R is in range of hitting Vengod, he won't really care that much. Because if I remember right, the R works in a way where as long as it hits the last person in that box, it's going to drag everybody to him. So all he has to do is land that ultimate, and all of a sudden he can set up a bunch of CC, a bunch of damage onto the Jinx. And the fact that he is 3-1-1, 130 CS at this point in time, got the shield bow already. He's going to be one tough customer to take down. Yone, with all the lifesteal, can start to become really overbearing to actually kill once he starts diving onto your carries.
Yeah, now he's got that. Yeah, like you said, the shield bow just he's going to be hard to deal with. Vengod though is pretty strong as well. 2-0 Kraken Slayer, got his attack speed boots finished up, and Nice Guy Dom is just playing weak side this game. Has to be very, very safe. But now that Pillar's in a longer lane, and now that his tower isn't behind him, expect to see Nice Guy Dom just sit under tower and farm. Like, he needs to finish his Ludens up.
I mean, the issue is that he's on the weak side as Ziggs, and he has not enough vision, or whatever vision he did just...
Oh, he's dead. Gonna ult the wave as his dying breath, but just overstepping the mark consistently. Meanwhile, Rifty is going to get caught out by Wilhelm. Wilhelm actually pops the ulti quite early here. Goes for the slam back, and that's just Rifty getting himself delivered out. Stride Breaker run, and he is slowed and flashing away. Wilhelm lands one last axe. Meanwhile, Vengod getting chased off by Pillar, but Vengod able to dodge away on the knockup this time around. And Cloud Drake getting picked up for Demise. Actually a nice one. They want to be able to use those ultis as much as possible, so reducing that will be big for them. Rengis will pick up this tower. Maybe not on this wave, but on the next.
Yeah, no, he's got it. Take a couple tower shots for it as well.
Yeah, he's got it. That's fine.
But yeah, I agree, actually. This is one of the few times where Cloud Dragon is going to have a whole bunch of value, because Demise probably want to be pressing their go buttons as frequently as possible. So
now, it is a scary one if Lucent do turn around and get it.
Oh, yeah.
Because Olaf with Cloud Soul is honestly terrifying.
I do agree. And even a Jinx, after she's cast her armor, and she might have the excited buff on her. God, she'll be running faster than Usain Bolt. It will not be a pleasant sight to see if you're rooting for Demise. She'll be...
Now Demise are zoning Vengod off this tower, and that will be the tower going down.
Yeah, tower, more gold into Pillar's back pocket. Has 1.5k already, so he has a Zeal item in his inventory. So if he's going towards something like the Mortal Reminder or a Phantom Dancer, he probably has the combined cost for it. Or at the very least, he's about 100 or so gold away. That's going to put him to 2 items, which should put him at that 100% crit threshold, and he's going to be pretty scary. I mean, he could also, on the other side, back for like a BF and a crit cloak, but I think he just finished up that second item. And I think key thing to know for Lucent is all of their gold is still on Vengod. He is, bar the Pillar, bar the Yone, who has been fed a whole bunch of gold, the strongest member in the game on either side.
Does that Pillar actually doesn't go for the Mortal Reminder?
Yeah. Or just the
pickaxe and crit cloak. So looking towards, I assume, an Infinity Edge second.
Yeah, that would be my assumption. I wonder why he went Zeal then in lane. Maybe it's just the Yone thing.
I've seen a lot of Yones go, Yones and Yasuo's go Zeal, attack speed boots, and then go for the shield bow.
I'm a little bit uneducated on some of the item pathing sometimes.
I think like Yone and Yasuo, especially Yasuo, because he's been around longer, but they just always seem to have like varying builds. Like there was a while where like Static Shiv was entirely into build on him, and then it was Phantom Dancer, and then it went back to Static Shiv without anyone saying why.
Yeah. And then they just removed Static Shiv.
And then they removed Static Shiv, so there was no problems on that front. And Nice Guy Dom might just get sniped here. No, able to dodge away and clear out the wave.
And that
is a questionable Rift Herald. I don't think it was meant to be placed down.
No, it's probably going to time out, if anything. Sometimes you just don't get to use Herald. You don't find the opportunity to use it. And that's just an unfortunate situation there for Lucent. But there is one thing about this 0-5-0 Zig, is that he's still going to be able to do his job and clean up waves. And he is still going to do a lot of meaningful damage. Okay. 0 forced to ult away. Pretty lengthy cooldown.
That's a pretty nice pickup for them. Pillar getting a bit of free time in the bot lane. Rengis will be the one to go deal with him, though.
Yeah, Pillar's level 14, just for the record.
Pillar is pretty big right now.
Yeah.
Although Rengis is big in size and actually gets himself the interrupt. Pillar being chased. Remember, he actually has no getaway here. And is just going to get pulled back in. That is not the Fate and Seal you needed, and they're looking to give the shutdown over to Vengod. A lot of gold on Pillar right now. As he's jumping away, Vengod hits, misses the zap, and Pillar actually playing this really well. He's looking to get away from this. He's got the turnaround, he's got the heal.
Oh, the Demise on Baron.
Gets hit by the zap, they're looking for the Baron, the flash comes out, and here comes Nice Guy Dom. The shutdown's actually picked up by Rengis.
Oh, no.
Nice Guy Dom has actually zoned them off. He is just a sacrificial lamb for the team as he is slammed down, and Xandru finds the kill. They didn't get the shutdown onto the person they needed because they needed to move off as soon as possible. But now, Lucent actually will find out a couple of members. They were backing on a ward. They're getting slowed down. Azura's coming in. They've actually got the ulti off. Azura's on the run now. As the turnaround is here, they've got the slows. Azura has to flash the wall. As the axe doesn't quite connect from Wilhelm. And Lucent force away.
Yeah, I mean, admirable by Pillar to buy that much time, but a very interesting decision made by Demise to start the Baron. You can kind of understand it, so many members committing to the bottom side. You just make the play on the other side, and that happens to be the Baron, but Nice guy, Dom. At least that death was for something. At least, you know, like at least he did stop Demise from bringing up the Baron.
that was. I'm not worth any gold.
Yeah.
So I might as well just.
What did he even give over? Like,
wait, are we trading Baron for Dragon?
Oh
no, we're just going Baron.
Oh. And they have to walk into Ziggs. Well, Ziggs isn't there quite yet, but they're gonna have to walk through Ziggs' poke eventually. And that's kind of the scary thing for the Demise here is that, okay, nice guy Dom is oh.
I think it's too early.
Oh, it's way too early. Yeah. Yes, nice guy Dom, very far behind in the game, not even completed the second item yet, but he is still a Ziggs. He is gonna deal so much AoE damage in front of the pit. And don't forget, Baron actually shreds MR, so just kind of makes it even worse if you are the enemy team against Ziggs flying up objectives.
Now, Demise are one away from that soul. So, Lucent do need to contest it at some point. I mean, realistically, it's not the end of the world for them to lose Cloud's soul. It's an annoying one. Kai'Sa uses it very well. So does Azura, but it doesn't cost them the game for losing soul. It's not going to be GG, but what it does do, it does mean the Elder Dragon comes up sooner, which means there's another objective you kind of need to be careful about on the warding and not just Baron.
Yeah. I agree, but I always like to pose this question sometimes, especially surrounding Cloud souls, because I think they are, you know, objectively the least impactful. Subjectively, they're probably like the second best, right? But in a game like this where you know Ziggs really only needs about 2 items to be useful, he's on his way there. Vanguard is approaching his IE. I don't think you necessarily care if you have the Elder spawn on the map. It just means it gives you enough opportunity to flip a good fight. But of course, the inverse to that is then there's pressure on you to then have vision in 2 places. Make sure you never really allow one team free time in front of one objective or the other. But it honestly seems like whenever Elder is on the map, it is the focus point. As Pillar looking for Rengus.
Rengus is pretty tanky, and Pillar's Soul Unbound will time out relatively soon, so he was okay to get away from that one. Wilhelm has found QZ and Azura, but they also find him with the cask. Multiple members of Demise in the area, and bot lane there is a Ziggs very extended, and Rifty is just looking to run nice guy Dom down. Can't even hit the ulti. Rifty actually lost a lot of health there. Pillar getting chunked out heavily, and Rengus able to find himself a killing spree. The carry is down. A great hook by Zerg. Xander's taking so much damage as he has to flash over the wall. Kuzi jumps over as well. Here comes the hook. It goes just a little bit too wide. The zap does hit Kuzi in the bum on the way out, though.
Yeah, nice guy Dom's not having a great game. Here is he. Very unfortunate, honestly. Lucent could have just run over that fight in the top side. Once Pillar actually committed to a dive and didn't actually, it seemed, find anyone.
I just, as I think back on this game, I just think nice guy Dom could have just played the Malzahar again. Like, his champion pool is creative, let's say. It's not the meta champions other than the TF that's been getting banned from him.
Yeah.
He does like these kind of off the cuff picks. And the Malzahar, sure, I kind of made a joke, but he didn't really get to Nevergrass because of the QSS coming in so quickly in that last game. But like, I feel like Malzahar just kind of does a similar thing to Ziggs, but not at range as far as the wave shove goes. You do just hit the wave a little bit and walk away.
Eventually, you can just hit the wave and walk away.
Yeah, you just press E, press W, and walk away, and your little minions do all the work for you. Obviously, Ziggs provides zone control in these team fights, so they're very vastly different champions in that area, where Malzahar's a little bit more single target, ignoring his Q. And obviously, that's why they picked the Ziggs up. They wanted someone who can control the zones, but I feel the Malzahar probably would have offered them, some ability to deal with Pillar in these team fights if he jumps in and the Malzahar can get the Nevergrasp off. So ultimately, maybe that's what could have happened here. But it's kind of, these are the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Because if the Ziggs got ahead in this lane, we'd be like, look at this. Can control the zones, clear the waves like it's nothing. What a god.
I also like that nice guy Dom has a Dark Seal. He's ready. Wait.
That is so optimistic. That is the most optimistic thing I've ever seen.
I don't know when he picked it up. He could have had it in his inventory for a very long time, but I'm just saying, one good fight. After he's finished out the Archangel stuff, all of a sudden he's got a Medjai's in his back pocket. keep an eye out for that one.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, but I do agree. I think they can offer similar things inside of the laning phase. Though I think giving Pillar or Yone in particular, a very uninteractive first couple of levels, which is what Malzahar would have actually offered him, wouldn't have been great. Whereas at least on the Ziggs, you can sort of auto poke a little better in that regard. But it seems like Lucent, at least given by their posturing, they're not willing to give up this Alt-Soul, at least not for free.
It's going to be hard for them to force their way forward. As a Nice Guy has reset, or is in the middle of resetting. You do have to be careful though. There are the Jinx rockets, there are the feasts, so the ability to steal away the dragon is very much there for Lucent. Vanguard's going to rejoin his team and go the long way around. Here's this Zig zone control we were talking about. Everyone on Demise now has to walk through Nice Guy Dom's poke. Pillar trying to come in onto the flank, but has been spotted out by this pink ward, and that might just be the go button.
You can go over the wall if you
They're
want.
going to slam in. Vanguard flashes away. Rifty jumps in onto him. That's going to be Zonju who gets rooted up on the trap as he slides in forwards. Vanguard is still alive. Pillar can't find the damage onto the members he can, but now he's able to do so. They ping back out. Wilhelm is knocked up. Rengus and Wilhelm have to do so much work, and I think Demise have found the fight they needed. Finally getting themselves the ace. And they're going to get themselves the soul to boot as well.
That was crazy when Zonju got trapped up in the Jinxie. I was like, wow, that's just gonna be it if Zonju dies, and the rest of Lucent can kind of take, you know, the rest of these members out swiftly. This can very easily be the fight, but Pillar comes in clutch with the Soul Unbound, finds the Fate Sealed onto critically the key carries of Lucent, Vanguard, and yes, even Nice Guy Don, guys. And honestly, finds all of the CC after he blows them up as well onto the tankier members. Hats off to Pillar, finally finding that big team fight he's been looking for the past, what feels like 10 to 15 minutes. And it's going to be Demise picking up Baron off the back of it as well. They've got Soul, they've got Baron in back pocket.
Vanguard's got R in a moment.
They've got, yeah.
No, it's not going to happen. Too low. Too slow.
Jinx, very scary champion to do neutrals against on this patch, but we'll get the replay of it. And honestly, Rifty finds a real nice angle to slam the Cho'Gath, the highest HP member, into everyone. But then look, Zonju gets clipped by the Chompers, and Vanguard relatively untouched, but then he gets stunned up by Azura, and then he's in range for everybody else to start laying waste to him. And Pillar finds the Fate Sealed onto those members on the side, and also found the knockup before that Soul Unbound actually snapped him back, and that was just enough for the remainder of Demise to kind of just lay through the remaining members of Lucent after they lost their carries. As the gold graph this game, you can see steadily just increased as time has gone on for Demise.
And I'm curious what your thoughts are on the scaling this time around, because last time it was very much a Lucent favored scaling, but I feel like this time around Demise do also scale very nicely. You've still got the Kai'Sa who scales well, but you've got the Yone, who is currently having a 1v1 with Rengus, and Rengus is actually winning that one.
Yeah.
GA up onto Pillar though. He actually Fate Seals backwards. Azura comes slamming in onto Rengus. There's the rupture. Wilhelm's trying to do something here, but Rengus will lose his life. Tries to get the shield off, finds himself a silence, flashes away, and is pulled back in. Pillar finds the kill. There's the Mega Inferno Bomb and Super Mega Death Rocket coming in, and Vanguard is caught out. They get the slam, but Vanguard is just free firing away. He's still untouched. Kuzi just about escaped. Pillar is caught out by the hook. The Fate Unsealed is there. They can use the stopwatch. Here comes the slam. Ripty's onto the back line. Nice Guy Dom making some space. Wilhelm is going low, but Demise are getting out of this one. How the hell are they all still alive? Demise crush Lucent in the fight.
By the skin of their teeth. If Jinx found one reset, I'm telling you, one, and I feel like she would have popped off so much AoE damage between the Ziggs and the Jinx. Nice Guy Dom's just going to get run down by Rifty. Nothing he can really do about it, and I think with the death timers, with all 5 members still being alive, the Demise are actually going to push us to a game 3, and that means kind of comical after game 1, but it seems like that's going to be the case, Jake.
Oh, not going to be enough there from Rengus, but it was an honorable attempt. 31 minutes on the clock, and Demise equalize out the score. We're going to game number 3, baby.
Game number 3, and I mean, it's such a strange one. I feel definitely the mid lane, the key difference maker. I think just nice guy Dom. I don't know what's going on there. That's not the kind of performance you need on stage. It kind of just allowed Pillar to have kind of free reign on the game in general. Kind of got to do whatever he wanted, and all of that injected gold.
It was just a little bit. The Pillar show that game, just a tiny amount. Just, honestly,
like this. Yeah,
bloody good game from Pillar.
If anything, yes.
After what was probably quite a hard loss for Demise in game number 1, they came back pretty mad into game number 2. But we're gonna have to break that down a little bit more after this break. We will see you in a moment.
Am I wasting time? 'Cause I'm already gone. So long, can you stay the night? 'Cause you're the thing I want. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out, but even with no makeup you still stand out. 'Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now. Like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. Whoa. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC Demise come back out the door swinging after that game number 1. They were mad. I think that's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, and I mean, if anything, mad more at themselves. Pillar, probably the angriest out of anybody, finding solo kill after solo kill after solo kill on 2 Nice Guy Dom, with, I suppose, some help prior to that from his jungler, Azura, with the tower dives. But yeah, I mean, Nice Guy Dom did not have a great game, and Pillar, because of some of those errors, kind of left with no leash, and with that, kind of ran amok in the game. And this fight here, I mean, if Vanguard finds one more auto attack on any more of these members, and I mean, he just starts to go for Reset City, and the GA stopping the first set of resets, even pretty lucky. But I think just really good work from Rifty here to CC up the Jinx to make sure that there's no reset shenanigans here, because look at the health bars here on Demise.
It was a stark difference between this game and the last game, in the sense that last game, Zandru wasn't able to play the team fights because he was just getting CC'd and jumped onto. This time it was Vanguard. Vanguard literally just didn't get the team fight. Like you said, that last team fight, if Vanguard had been left to free fire, that just would have been would have been the turnaround. That actually would have been the turnaround for the game. And ultimately, it wasn't. Demise recognized that Vanguard was the primary carry. He got fed in lane. And to be honest, to me, I feel like getting fed in bot lane just spells doom in these games now. Both the times that one of the players is like either Xandra or Vanguard have got fed in lane, they've then just not been able to do anything with it. So I do think it's a bit more than that, though, if I'm going to be honest. It was definitely a very one-sided game from Pillar. I'll let you talk about that a little bit more, but now, Jamada, talk me through your favorite play of the game. Let's bring up the drawing board.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring up this Soul fight because honestly, it's just one of those things that you don't often get to see in terms of the Kai'Sa getting clipped in the Flame Chompers for one, but also just the sort of the breakdown. I'll let it play out. So, you know, we've got Lucent, the ones that are in front of the pit first, and they're kind of posturing as if they want to go for this fight, but then Rifty finds this really nice angle onto the Cho'Gath, and that's kind of the risk of running Cho'Gath into the set. This is why the set's such a powerful counter pick into it. So much bonus HP. And you can see immediate focus. Vanguard. He doesn't want Vanguard to be able to start laying down any auto attacks onto the front line here of Demise. So Rifty is already doing his job. And on the front line for Lucent are just trying to keep the remaining members of Demise away, not able to actually advance through them. And there we see it. Right here. Flame Chompers actually put down by Vanguard stops Xandru from dashing forward with the Killer Instinct. And at this moment, in my head, I'm like, well, Rifty, I don't think has enough damage to actually take down Vanguard by himself. He's got Nice Guy Dom there. Zerg is there to also peel. This fight might just be over before it's, you know, practically realistically even started. But then, all of a sudden, this ultimate here comes through from Pillar. 2 members, Wilhelm, I believe, or no, I think it's Zerg, plus Nice Guy Dom, and now Vanguard is left completely unattended by Azura, and he's just burnt down, and Pillar manages to get that nice double knock up on the way out of the Soul Unbound, and he just kind of wins the fight solo with the ultimate. And
yeah, it was like you were saying, it's the 2 people to peel for Vanguard got caught in the Fate Sealed. Yeah. And that did seal the fate of that game and that fight. That was an absolutely fantastic game from Pillar. Curious to see whether or not he gets his hands on the Yone. I completely forgot the name of the champion. So, you know, I want to see what the adaptation is going to be, because Lucent have picked the same comp, basically, the same comp 2 games in a row. Actually, it's exactly the same comp, bar Ziggs, which was the Malzahar in the first game. So they're on blue side again. So there is a chance that they just go for the same thing again. I'm curious to see what the game plan is going to be for Demise Lucent going into this third game, because I don't know if this comp actually is enough, what they've been putting together, because game 1, they fell behind. They were able to pull it back down to some mistakes from Demise. Game 2, Demise just walked that game. They absolutely walked that game. So it's all going to be paid for in game number 3, the deciding game of this series. But for now, we are going to throw to a break. We'll see you in a moment.